All right, guys, we are back for another day of this. I don't know, massive migraine. I've watched trials for a long time. This has been a doozy. I'm going to jump right in. So this is day 11 of the trial. This is when Darrell Brooks is bringing in his witnesses to testify. He's already brought in one kind of out of order because he needed an interpreter. So this technically he would be bringing in a second witness for today. But this is when he opted to do his like opening statement, if you will. So for the thumbnail, I've done the many faces of old Darrell Brooks. You're going to see somebody go from a sniffling, crying, woe is me to a argument. Well, at first, you're going to start argumentative, going back and forth with the judge, which again, she has basis to Joe. This lady deserves a spa day. And I'm not even kidding. I've watched O.J. Simpson, Casey Anthony, the Menendez brothers. I've seen a lot of trials in my time. This one takes the cake in judge patience. So he's going to do the opening statement where you get to see a lot of woe is me. Then, but again, initially, you're going to see him argue with her again about jurisdiction and the sovereignty law thing that he's doing. It's on top of the objecting to almost every freaking question. He's going to go back and forth with this judge, and then you're going to see the opening sniffle statement, and then you're going to see him call this technically a second witness, which to me is the GOAT of the trial. His own witness, and I mean it's hilarious. So we're going to get into this, and here you go.
We still aren't.
Sir, there is no requirement in the law that the state or the court establish that. So
Actually,
your
there
objection
is.
is noted.
All right.
Actually, there is, Your Honor. Subject matter jurisdiction has to be
please.
proven for the record. Has
It
to
does
be
not.
proven. Has to be proven. You know that just as
Jury's coming in. You know what he's doing. He's making sure that they hear all this mumbo jumbo shit. He does this every time the jury comes in. He starts this shit, and remember his attitude right now. It's about to change drastically.
well as
Mr. Brooks,
you know that.
please do not make statements that mischaracterize the law
You know it has to be proven
or that
for the
impugn the
record.
integrity of this
You
court
know it has to be
and
proven
the
on the
proceedings
record.
here.
You know
The
it
jury
has
is
to be proven.
advised to disregard the statements that Mr. Brooks is making regarding subject matter jurisdiction. They are not evidence, and you are to disregard them.
You're not presented as evidence. Just has yet to be proven for the record.
The jury will disregard the incorrect statements of the law that Mr. Brooks is stating.
Where's lawful law that is incorrect?
Mr. Brooks, please. I am going to read one instruction. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
Yeah.
Now for better unto you, Hoa.
Here you go.
Obviously, I don't have any rehearsed or well prepared speech, so I'm just gonna speak.
Of course, he didn't bother to well prepare a speech in the fight for his life in a trial where he's charged with I don't know how many felony counts, and there's 6 victims that have lost their lives. Well, I mean, prepare. Why not? Because all those files he's been pulling from his public defender made for him. They're the ones that are, highlighted all those records you see him pulling from, and all these questions he's brought up and asked. They did all this work, and now he sits in court and acted like he spent the time doing this shit. So why would he bother to do this? I mean, it's just his life.
From the heart.
I'll tell you now, I keep going
I would
over
just
there,
like to
stomach
first
after
say
this.
that
Woe is me.
I want to bring to remembrance something I think everyone in this room has been taught pretty much as far back as we can remember, is that there's always 2 sides to every story.
Well, and I don't know, 20 some odd witnesses that have been called to testify in this case.
And for so long now, roughly a year, there's only truly been one side told of this story. And I've sat back and watched.
Again, I'm going to object here. One side, no. There's been dozens of sides. There's also been a lot of funerals that have taken place. To watch that coroner testify about that 8-year-old boy, that'll rip your heart out.
From countless narratives that's been put out there. The way this incident has been portrayed at times. We
Let's just get to the woe is me.
argue facts. The fact is, this incident was tragic. Very tragic. That's not lost on me.
I think it has been, because I think this is the first time I've never heard him say this. But you know, remember, just
Facts are that
ugh,
there's still a lot of people healing. A lot of families healing. On both sides.
Okay, I'm telling you. Get to the tears flowing.
Is that this incident was not planned?
By the way, first time I've seen him shed a tear, you know, because it's about himself. Even all the testimony about all the victims and stuff, you know, he put his head down and oh my, but I never saw this man shed a tear. I mean, I would call them Amber Heard tears, non-existent.
This incident was not intentional. And this incident was never even thought about.
Not a thought about. Also thought about whenever he first ran through the barricades and hit the first group of people, you know, not thought about to even stop, get out the car. Oh my God, what have I done? Nope. Just kept going, plowing through the rest of the parade. Oh, come on. I cannot do this. It's just having to look down and think, come on, dude. Pull it out of it. It's all about you right now. That kind of junk. Oh my, I can't.
It's easy to form opinions.
I mean, look.
A lot of factors.
All this.
Families.
Said about 4 words and then does the woe is me.
With the community.
Community you don't live in.
And even the alleged defendant's family as well. There's been a lot of suffering.
The alleged defendant. A lot of suffering. Sure, his poor mom is
A lot of misunderstanding.
wrecked over this. Misunderstanding. No, I think we pretty much understand what happened that day.
And
I can't. Like, I really can't. It's the first time this man's ever shed a tear that I have ever seen in this entire trial about himself. So we're going to go fast forward to the GOAT, in my opinion, of this case.
I believe
But I don't believe nothing coming out of his face hole. This man, again, went from back talking the judge to bawling about woe is me to then he calls his first witness.
I'm just gonna go with I'm just gonna work off the list of the people who's here.
Ready?
Yeah.
With that, have the jury. So have the jury brought out, please.
Bertram.
I don't even know his name.
Bertram.
Okay.
Most likely.
Do you want to give us 2 names and we'll have 2 people out there?
Expecting.
They're here.
Well,
Your first and last names for the record, and then to spell.
I'm going to remind everybody again, this is Darrell Brooks's witness. Technically his second, because the interpreter had to be brought in for his first witness. Remember that this is his witness.
Each. Go ahead.
First name Nicholas, last name Kirby, Nicholas. Kirby.
Right, thank you. Go ahead, sir, your witness.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kirby. How are you today?
I'm here.
How are you today? I'm here. That right there is tell you how this is gonna go.
What do you do for a living?
Mostly temp work.
Do you recall the events of November 21st of 2021?
All too well.
And what were you doing that day?
What time of the day?
Around 3 o'clock-ish.
3 o'clock-ish. Around 3 o'clock-ish, I was walking with Corey around Waukesha. Earlier, well, yeah.
And you made reference to walking with Corey. Who is Corey?
Corey is a friend of Miss Patterson's.
And would it be fair to say that it's also a friend of yours?
Mutual friend, yes.
In reference to Corey?
Yes.
Oh. And what were you doing?
Walking around Waukesha, she was waiting for Miss Patterson to get done meeting with Mr. Brooks. You?
At 3 o'clock?
Around 3 o'clock-ish. Around that time, I had advised her not to go meet with Mr. Brooks.
You made reference to Mr. Brooks. Who's that?
That would be you.
And why would you say it would be you? That's you.
Because that's your name.
And you were privy to that information at the time?
I was privy to the information about you about a week prior to this incident.
About a week prior. And during your walking around, what were you doing with Corey?
Walking, like literally walking. We went from one store to walking around downtown after Erica told us she was going to be going to meet with Mr. Brooks. That would be you. I had advised her not to do it because it was a bad idea, and I was in fear for her safety.
You made reference to going from one store to another. What stores are you referencing?
Dollar General and Speedway.
Did you go anywhere else?
No.
Can you tell this is kind of almost a hostile witness? And again, he called him. I mean, you can tell this dude is not happy to be here for this guy. I mean, could you feel it? I can feel it.
Did you ever go to a park?
No.
Brooks, a week prior to these events, you said?
I didn't know everything about him. Miss Patterson had showed me his rap sheet, if you will, and a picture of him, and that was about it. I had heard prior
I'm going to stop the witness unless you want him to go there, not to discuss what may or may not be conduct of Mr. Brooks prior to November 21 of 2021.
Okay.
With that understanding, go ahead and ask the next question.
You don't know what happened there. The judge made a ruling about bringing in his prior charges before the parade, where he is being charged with a battery, I believe, for this Miss Patterson, the mother of his 15-year-old daughter, and the one that he met that day. There was an altercation before the parade. He is one of the guys that was walking around with that female that which she testified earlier for the state of Wisconsin in this case. So, like he was like it'll play out like he's saying if you missed, I tried to jump because he takes a lot of breaks, but he'd asked him how he said, you were aware of Mr. Brooks. How were you aware? And so he just testified that she, Miss Patterson, is the mother of Darrell Brooks's 15-year-old. Um, that she had shown this guy right here one of his rap sheet with his picture. That's how he knew of it. So the judges stopped it and was like cautioning Darrell Brooks, like, your questioning could bring up your past charges. And if he opens that door, I have no doubt the state of Wisconsin will go after him about those charges. He was out on bail.
You made reference to a picture you were shown.
Just a photograph with a rap sheet behind it.
Do I fast forward? It takes forever.
And at some point, did you and your mutual friend Corey meet up with Miss Patterson?
Yes.
Do you recall where that was?
Corey and I were in the Dollar General area of Waukesha, which is between East and Broadway Street. We were walking away from Dollar General, towards where Erica had said that she was being assaulted and attacked.
And do you recall where that area was?
Yes.
Where was that area?
On White Rock Avenue, right across from White Rock Elementary, in front of the red apartments across from that area.
Red apartments.
Yes.
Do you know what those apartments are called?
I do not know the name. I'm guessing they're called White Rock Apartments.
And do you know if there's a park in that immediate vicinity?
There is a park there named Frame Park, yes.
Did you ever go to Frame Park?
No. We were in that area near the park where the elementary school is and the apartments are.
About what time did you and your mutual friend Corey meet up with Miss Patterson?
Miss Patterson called me and said that she was...
About what time was the question? About what time?
And I'm getting to that.
I'll direct the witness answer his question specifically. What time?
Honestly, around what time the parade started. I would have to say like dusk. I honestly don't wear a watch, so sorry, I don't remember the time. But if I had to put it at a time, I'd probably say about 4:35-ish.
Let's back up a little bit. Around what time did you and your mutual friend Corey first hook up that day?
I had worked that whole day, so we didn't meet up until I was done working, which was probably about 2:30, 3 o'clock.
And at some point, you received a phone call from Miss Patterson?
Yes.
You yourself?
Yes.
And then at that point, what did you do?
When she told me that she was in trouble and she needed help, I went to her aid, which means I took off from where I was near Dollar General and ran to where she told me to go.
And when you got there, what did you see?
When I got there, halfway towards White Rock Elementary, I stopped a police officer at a barricade and I let him know that a woman was being assaulted in a vehicle.
And do you recall giving a description of who may have been assaulting your friend?
No.
Why not?
Because at that point in time, the description didn't matter. I had the identity of the vehicle. So I told them, you need to be looking for a red SUV with a woman screaming out of it.
And how did you come into the knowledge of the description of the vehicle?
Because I saw the vehicle.
At what point did you see the vehicle?
When Corey and I were walking up White Rock Avenue on the apartment building side of White Rock, which would have been my right if you were walking towards the train tracks that cross White Rock. On my left was White Rock Elementary. I walked past the red vehicle, didn't realize that she was in that vehicle. Then Corey and I crossed the street to White Rock Elementary and started walking down the sidewalk, and I heard her scream, Miss Patterson scream. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she screamed and I knew it was her, so I walked back across the street and escorted her across the street over to White Rock Elementary.
I don't think that's what I asked.
I'm just giving you full description.
Let's back up a little bit because that doesn't make sense. You stated that you had a description of the vehicle. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
The question was, how did you learn of the description of the vehicle at that point?
Miss Patterson told me over the phone that she was in a red SUV. There aren't many red SUVs with young women screaming for help in Waukesha.
I mean, do you see kind of why his own witness? Did he think this through?
So I'm assuming, because you made reference to stopping law enforcement before arriving to the scene. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
So I'm assuming somewhere in the time of you stopping the law enforcement officer to report what you were being told, and then actually walking past the vehicle as you said you did, and then hearing this and all this, did you give a full report to law enforcement?
At the time when someone was in help and needed help immediately, absolutely not. I said there's a woman being attacked in a red SUV, you need to call for backup. Now.
And then you just ran.
And then I ran towards the person that needed help.
Did you at any time give a more detailed report that evening?
No, not that evening.
Did you speak with any more law enforcement that evening?
Yes.
Do you recall whom that was?
I do not recall the officer's name that showed up in the SUV coming down White Rock, in the police squad SUV. I don't even know the name of the officers that turned into Frame Park and went to the boat launch instead of where Miss Patterson and myself and Corey were. But yes, I did speak to an officer.
How did you come into the knowledge of where officers turned and went?
Because me, Erica, and Corey were arguing with Mr. Brooks on the side of the road of White Rock, right in front of White Rock Elementary. And the officer that I had stopped at the barricade when we were coming to Miss Patterson's aid had radioed for backup, and obviously given them description of the vehicle that I had described to them, the red SUV. That backup came, but they went to Frame Park. They did not go to where we were on White Rock.
Any idea why they went to Frame Park if you specifically told them a description of a vehicle and where it was located?
I did not tell them where the vehicle was located because at first incident, Mr. Brooks had taken off in his SUV.
It's all happening with his own witness.
In the police report, and is it fair to say that the officer that took your report was writing down what you told them?
Do you mean the officer that I alerted about the trouble in the SUV?
Well, let me back up. On the next day, the 22nd of November of 2021, did you speak with a detective at that time?
Yes, I did.
And during that interview, were they writing down what you were saying?
I believe so, yes, but I believe it may also have been recorded on tape. I'm not sure.
And do you yourself recall stating to the detective that your friend Miss Patterson was being assaulted somewhere near the area of White Rock School?
Objection, lady. Overruled. He may answer. I'll just caution Mr. Brooks about leading questions since it's his witness, but this particular question you can answer.
Yes, I mentioned that I had received a phone call from Miss Patterson and that she was being assaulted while in a vehicle.
At any time did you identify White Rock School?
I identified the street, which is named White Rock, the apartment buildings, and the school as well as Frame Park.
So you did identify Frame Park?
I identified the entire geographical area.
I mean, if you're the prosecution right now, you should have just been like, listen, we should have just like let him bring in all the witnesses at this point. I mean, this is not good for him. This dude's a very good witness. I mean, he's direct. He gets him when Darrell Brooks thinks he gets him on the phone. It would be safe to say you don't know how many phone calls you've taken. Dude's like, well, as a matter of fact.
Your friend Miss Patterson screaming?
Yes.
And do you recall what she was screaming?
Objection, hearsay.
I said, do he recall?
Ask from the question. He's asking, did he hear? So you may answer. It's a yes or no.
I do not. Yes, she screamed. Do I remember what she was trying to say? No, I'm guessing it would be help. I'm in trouble. I would assume that that's what a person would scream when they're in trouble, is for help.
Did I mention this was his witness? And again, I've watched this entire trial. When I tell you, I think this probably is the best witness. I'm telling you, he is just direct. He ain't taking no crap, and he's articulate.
Do we still have the exhibit with the footage from the White Rock School available?
The security footage?
The security footage, I'm sorry.
We do. Would the state be willing to pull that up?
Now, just a reminder too, the state is having to pull up everything for him. All of his everything. I mean, everything. Like if he's got evidence he wants to bring in front of a witness, and he does this thing where he's like do we got that, video from, you're supposed to know exhibit numbers, all that. They have walked through minefields to help this dude out. And if you're wondering why, it's so he can't call for a mistrial and act like he wasn't given fair process and all that other stuff. That's why they're bending over backwards. And again, I'm gonna put my damn PayPal link down below. And if you agree with me, and anybody donates to me, I promise you, if I have enough, I'm going to send this judge to a damn spa and get her anonymously because I don't want to impact anything. Okay, but and after the trial's over, so don't even worry about that stuff. But this woman deserves a daggum vacation. Okay, we can't afford to send her to the Bahamas, but by golly, if we can afford to get her a back rub, I think, and a pedicure, this lady deserves so much more.
I guess I need the defendant to identify which exhibit he would like us to publish.
There's 3 and 4. Door 1 and door 2 is what I have.
And if you're wondering, it's this woman back here with the really short hair. She's the one that pulls up all the exhibits for the prosecution. It's her back here.
I'm sorry, you said do.
Exhibits 3 and 4 have been received. One is of the White Rock door 1, the other is White Rock door 2. I believe those are the videos you're referring to.
Let's try door 2.
And see this weird shit he does, where he does this thing where let's try. Remember, this is after he talked to the judge like she's a piece of shit. Then he does this thing where he's all trying to be relatable or quirky or whatever it is. It's the weirdest shit. You watch him go from talking to her like she's a dog to then it's oh, no, me, it's weird.
Let's
Look.
try door 2.
What is that?
Okay, that's exhibit 4.
Telling you, this judge needs
Let's
an
just
award.
put it up for the witness initially, make sure it's the one Mr. Brooks wants. I appreciate the state with their assistance. Can you see that on your monitor, Mr. Brooks? Is this the one you're looking at?
Yeah, I can see it.
I believe there's 2 clips from this, but
Can you see? He's yeah, I can see. She's the one that has to thank the state for doing it, not him. She asks him for clarification. He talks to her like she's in his rap videos. I mean, it's just. Again, I'm just gonna shut up about it. It's nuts.
go ahead.
He talks to this woman.
Can you? This one is roughly 7 minutes, so I would need a little bit of it played, if possible.
It's been received, so go ahead. It'll be published, so everyone can see.
Well, before it's published, can you show it to the witness?
That's fine. It'll just play for the witness then.
I'm sorry, I should have said that before.
It's playing, so we'll let it go. Let us know if there's a point where you want it stopped.
Okay.
And I might actually do a video and go back and cover where he dismisses his attorneys. It is. He did this to himself. He doesn't know the law. He's stumbling through it in a case this huge. Well, it is what it is. We're not dealing with a typical person. And, not many of us think it's perfectly normal to drive through a freaking Christmas parade and take out a bunch of grandmas and an 80-something-year-old man and an 8-year-old little boy. Okay. And numerous dozens of other injuries. The amount of kids, I think it was 17 children or something, wound up going to the hospital and stuff. And that 8-year-old boys, this isn't talked about either. The 8-year-olds that died, his 12-year-old brother was also in some serious condition in the hospital. So those parents, can you imagine those parents? And this dude going to look around his smirky face and laughing at stuff. Takes it real serious.
I'm not sure if this is the video you're looking for, though.
So it might be, think it might be door one.
No.
And he literally looks at the judge and she says, I don't know if this is what you're looking for. He looks at her, she said, you think it might be door one? Like, she's going to know the evidence that he's looking for. And again, I'm just sorry, I'm eating. My time's all screwed up, y'all. This trial, mind you, I've already watched this whole trial. It is 2:00 in the morning here in the middle of the great state of Tennessee where I live. Yeah, this is what I do. I love trials. I love watching them bring me. I don't normally like broadcasters do videos on it. They know I was doing this way before Johnny Depp or whatever. I used to do this. My mother used to sit and watch. We watched the OJ, Casey Anthony. I lost my mother in 2017. God rest her soul. And this is just, I did this for a long time. And when I say to you, this guy and his back and forth, how he talks to this judge and how he treats that woman, then how he does this kind of thing where he's like, oh, you think it's this? I'm telling you, thank God it's her and not me. And I am a Christian, y'all. And I'm telling you, the images that have ran through my mind of what should be done to this dude for what he did to those people in that little town, I'm just telling you. But again, I'm not a psychopath like my assumption of this dude is. I can have those thoughts and then stamp them down and be like, no, let God take care of them and the judicial system. You know what I'm saying?
Exhibit 3.
No, maybe not. Let's watch. I could be wrong.
I was kind of thinking that too.
Take a look.
Oh, it's going to do that.
Of course, none of our statements right now are any kind of evidence. We're just trying to get to the right spot.
Can you
Pause right now at 105.
105? Can you back it up a few seconds? Not 2 or 3, but maybe 5 seconds, 6 seconds, maybe.
It's at 59 seconds. The witness. It is on the witness stand, by the way, just so you're aware.
Okay.
He's watching it.
Can you play from here? I don't think it's playing.
It's playing.
Oh, okay. Pause right there. From what you can see in this video, do you see anyone get in or out of the vehicle that you see on your screen?
Miss Patterson has just exited the vehicle.
Just for the record, the video was played. It's Exhibit 4 from 56 seconds to 1:21. Go ahead.
I didn't hear the answer.
Miss Patterson was the one that exited the red SUV.
You saw someone exit.
Yes.
Can you rewind it back?
To what? Again.
You want it back to 56 seconds?
No, to 105, where it was paused the first time.
Okay. Thank you for attempting to do that, Ms. Gussie. It is paused at 1:05. Do you want to play from here?
Yes, I'm sorry. Pause.
Paused again at 1:21.
Oh, okay.
Did you see anyone from, in the video that you're being shown now, from about the 1 minute and 5 second mark to where it's paused right now at 1 minute and 21 seconds? Did you observe anyone get in or out of the vehicle?
I'm going to take back what I said earlier. Apparently, according to this video, she did not exit your vehicle. She was behind the White Rock sign. That's why I did not see her.
Did you see anyone get into the vehicle?
Later on, within the incident, yes.
On the video that you are able to view right now, from the 1 minute and 5 second mark to the 1 minute and 21 second mark, did you observe anyone get into the vehicle?
No.
Can you publish for the jury?
You want it replayed again?
Yes.
Go ahead. We'll start at the close to the minute mark as possible.
Again, is that where the defendant would like it started? Is
What?
this-
Around the 105, around that area.
105, Exhibit 4.
I know we have to wait for the jury, right?
Right,
Okay.
and then you want it to the minute 21 mark again?
Yes,
All right,
if I may.
Go ahead.
And at that time, were you already en route to where you believe your friend was being assaulted at?
Objection calls for speculation. This defendant has not even put this witness at this location at this time. He's just having him testify about what he's seeing in video.
I understand the objection. It's sustained. Please establish some foundation for this witness being present at that location. For
Were you-
more information about the incident.
Were you present at this time?
We were on White Rock Avenue, but we were not in the general location of the school as of yet, as of that point in time.
So to your recollection, you didn't see anything that you're seeing right now or on this video. You did not see the day of the incident?
No, I definitely saw Miss Patterson in a red SUV that day.
Did you see?
At this specific time, no. Because I was down the road on White Rock talking to an officer who was manning the intersection of Hartwell and White Rock. And reporting at that time.
Can we play a little bit more, if I may?
Objection as to relevance. If he wants to direct the video to a certain time that if he would like to ask this witness about that particular time if the witness saw that, that's fine. But he can't go through each video and say, and ask general questions.
There's only been one video that's been shown.
I'm going to give Mr. Brooks some leeway on this. The video is to be played from this moment, and then Mr. Brooks tell us when you want it to stop.
Okay. What I'm attempting to do for the record, Your Honor, is
Just play the video and you can ask your question.
All right.
Go ahead.
can you pause it right there?
Video's paused at 138.
By what you are viewing in this video right now, had you and your mutual friend Corey linked up with Miss Patterson at that point?
At this point in time in the video, given from what I've just seen, that was when Erica was on the phone trying to get a hold of me. We were already on White Rock at that point in time. We were not near the school at that point in time, though.
So that was when you would, to your recollection, that's when you would say the phone call to you was made?
One of the phone calls, yes, she made multiple phone calls to me, I think probably about 6. I had been having issues with my phone that day, so it had been turned on and off multiple times. The final time that it was turned on was when I picked up her phone call, and she said, "I need help, I'm in trouble, come help me. I'm being assaulted."
You just
That's
made
when I left.
you just made reference to that point in the vehicle being I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so drained. That point.
Oh, we feel so bad for this drained individual. You know, every time he does stuff like this, I think about the dozens of family members that were trying to have a Christmas parade, and this rageaholic psychopath. Again, that's my thoughts on it. Okay, I don't need no damn YouTube hammer lords coming down at me, or I'll show you all kinds of evidence where you allow all kinds of shit on this platform. People diagnose another person that has a degree out of a Cracker Jack box, but you know what I mean. That's what I think about all these victims, and it just the amount of shit that rumbled through this little town.
In the video was when you made reference to that point in the video being when you received the phone call.
Yes. A phone call out of multiple from her.
That's fair, a phone call. Would it be fair to say though, would it be fair to say that, and this is in reference to you saying that you were having issues with your phone?
This is one of this is one of those moments where it's like when you like your shit served hot. Yeah, here it is. I'm gonna rewind it. Listen to what he says. He thinks he's got him in a gotcha. Oh, you had phone troubles? Watch what this dude does. It's freaking golden.
And this is in reference to you saying that you were having issues with your phone that day. Would it be fair to say that you're not sure how many phone calls you had received that day or who they were from?
I only received 51 phone calls on my phone that day that I actually do know. 6 of which belong to her.
And all around the same time?
All around the time. She obviously didn't want to get off the phone because no one calls me 6 times in a row unless they need some help.
Can we?
I mean, I'm telling you, I've heard all these people testify. This dude, he doesn't have a suit and tie on. He's not some, detective for Wisconsin, an FBI agent. He's not. Like, this dude is just a citizen of this town that would be caught up in this shit. And like, he is like delivering the sledgehammer on these questions. It's been amazing. It's been refreshing.
Continue to play from 138.
Go ahead.
Can you pause right there very quick?
Paused at 1 minute 47 seconds.
Do you see in this video your friend Miss Patterson walking back in the direction that she had just come from?
I see her on the phone talking to someone, which I assume would be me, telling me where
Mr. Kirby, I need you to answer the specific question that's being asked at the moment, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, I see her on White Rock on the phone walking back in the direction she was originally.
If you don't know that, that's that judge playing attorney for him. When he starts to over-explain, of course, she's the one that's objecting for him. She's the one that's inserting it and being like, no, just answer the question. She's doing that. She doesn't have to do that. He should be doing that.
Again, Your Honor, I can object to this line of questioning unless the defendant can put this witness there. I don't know what the relevance of this testimony is.
I didn't even get
The
to that
exhibit
point.
has been received. It's been published previously.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give Mr. Brooks some leeway here. Overruled. I would like you to get to where you need to go, though.
That was the next question. At this point in the video, had you yet come into a range where you and your mutual friend Corey, had you yet come into a range where you can see Miss Patterson at that point?
Corey was the one that spotted her first.
Could you yourself see her at that point?
I heard her scream. That's what caught my attention.
And you made reference to that scream being heard from inside the vehicle. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, because that's where she was when she called me. And I was still on the phone with her while going down White Rock Avenue. Even while I was talking to the officer, I said, I'm on the phone with her right now. I'm trying to figure out where she is. Can you please call for backup? So we continued down White Rock to look for Miss Patterson.
Would it be fair to say that in the phone call you received, she told you where she was at, and that's the area that you were generally responding to with your mutual friend Corey?
Miss Patterson doesn't know Waukesha. I knew the area she was talking about because I live in that area.
Would it be fair to say that you just testified to when you had the interaction with law enforcement that you stated you're on the phone with her right now trying to figure out where she was? So would it be fair to say at that point you didn't know where she was?
I knew that she was on White Rock. I didn't know exactly where or how far down on White Rock she was at that point in time. At that specific time, I did not know. It wasn't until I seen a red SUV parked in front of the apartment buildings on White Rock that I figured that might be the one that she was in. It was Corey who spotted her across from the road.
We're paused at the 1 minute and 47 second mark of this video. It's a little hard to see houses and things of the like. Can you point out in what area the red apartment you're referring to might be?
It's
I'm just going to remind everyone, if you're not watching this case, there are multiple pictures of him and this red SUV. Him behind, like there's a pretty clear picture of him behind the steering wheel and the driver's seat. If that's not enough, there's multiple pictures where you can zoom in on the license plate. It's his mother's car. Like, I mean, it is like, it is over. I mean, they even brought up, of course, one of his music videos where he actually shot the music video with the car in the video with the same license plate. So like this frivolous shit he's doing, I do not get. Like it's like this is the guy that was involved with the domestic before the parade. So he's questioning him all about the events before he drove through the parade. So I mean, okay, what, you're going to challenge the domestic charge you're facing? All right. I mean, I don't know how much that's going to stack up with the, all the murders and the people that were flung into the air 15 feet that you hit with your vehicle. I mean, I guess, go for it. But this witness is like, he's golden. So now he comes back with these questions. If I was in prosecution, I'm telling you, I'd be sitting over there going, well, let's just all sit back, sip our coffee, eat our popcorn, and watch this shit fest happen.
It's a touch screen, so you can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can make an arrow point in the direction if that's helpful.
Not good with technology, guys. Sorry. I'm a dirt digger. Okay. This is the entrance to White Rock Elementary. Across the street and up maybe 20, 30 feet, there's an intersection leading from an apartment building to the White Rock campus. That would be up here in this general corner right here. This whole area.
Would it be fair to say that from where we're paused at in the video, we can't tell if there's any vehicle parked in that general area?
You literally just played the video where the vehicle
Just
turned
answer the
around.
question, sir.
No, you cannot see it from this angle.
Can we please clear the
Yes.
arrow? Thank you. Would it be fair to say that where the video is paused now, that Ms. Patterson is not, or who you identified as Ms. Patterson is not inside of a vehicle?
She is not inside of a vehicle in this video, no.
Can we play it from 1 minute and 47 seconds?
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is crazy. I'm gonna fast forward. He asked him all kinds of questions about this right here, which is just kind of like
Pause.
the craziest part
Elementary school sign that
is that this guy lives in Waukesha, so he knows the town very well. And this is him actually coming up with the other lady that's also testified. I'll play a little bit.
building itself meets the driveway or the road that's there. There's a
Um,
turnoff road.
I apologize. Can we
And he's
take-
on his phone. He's talking about this is where he was on his phone trying to call her back. And in the video, you could tell they're walking at a brisk pace, like they're trying to get to somebody. You know what I mean? Like it's all there.
that what you're referring to?
Where that intersection is, where I just drew that little X, that intersection cuts across from the other side of White Rock to the other side and leads to leads to a road, but also and Miss Erica. I was more worried about Miss Patterson being hurt, so I went for her to get her out of the way. I stepped between them as best I could, and I told Mr. Brooks he needs to leave. He needs to get out of here. Does not belong out here.
Do you recall if there was a knife involved at that time?
No, that is a miscommunication. And I will clarify that. The Monday,
Hold on, there's not a question yet.
Okay.
He'll ask the questions. I appreciate that, but just answer the questions that are asked at this point. Go ahead.
Did you at any point during this altercation, did you observe Miss Patterson get back into the vehicle at that point?
I observed her reaching into the vehicle for something. I don't know if she was grabbing a purse or something or whatnot, but she was grabbing something of her personal property out of the vehicle.
Did you observe
while
her?
this was going on?
Did you observe her get into the vehicle?
No.
See it's smart because he's like saying, well, why would she have anything of hers in the vehicle if she hadn't been in the vehicle? You know, so he's like, I watched her try to get something out of the car that was hers.
Play it from 3 minutes and 11 seconds, please.
Go ahead.
Pause it right there. Did you see yourself come into the frame in this vehicle at that
Yes.
point?
And he
Would that
makes
be
you
you
both
there?
about it.
Yes.
It would be fair to say that you had some type of jacket on, or a black jacket.
At one
that
point, yes.
evening? What happened to your jacket at that point?
That jacket hit the ground as soon as Mr. Brooks started going for the two women.
So you threw the jacket off,
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
and what was your reason for throwing the jacket off?
Well, if the court don't hate me for it, I'm just going to say it's a good thing that there were two women in my way at that point in time.
And what do you mean by that?
That means when my jacket comes off, trouble's going to happen. Especially if you're trying to assault a woman in front of me.
So that gesture was an aggressive gesture.
Oh, that was a completely focused gesture.
Well, you did make reference to, let me back up. Would it be fair to say that you just made reference to trouble following you throwing off your jacket?
No, not trouble following me.
Well, maybe that's the wrong way to put it, but
I'm
there would
confused
be
by your
trouble.
question.
Excuse me?
Can you rephrase your question?
Oh, I will. I'm sorry about that. You made reference to there being trouble when your jacket comes off. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
would it be fair to say that that would be, or that could be, perceived as an aggressive gesture?
You mean as an...
Objection calls for speculation. How it's perceived calls for speculation.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
If you recall,
There's the prosecution coming in to they're you can't speculate what would have happened. Like what he's doing. That's what they call the objection for, is because it didn't happen. So he's trying to set this guy in the light of was the aggressor or whatever. And what he's already established is that it was because Darrell Brooks, this guy, the defendant, was going after the women, and that's why he took the stance he did by taking his jacket off. I mean, we all see what he was trying to do there.
who gave the report that there was a knife involved?
That was not put into a report. That was a miscommunication between me and an officer. I had been knifed earlier that week and had 12 stitches in one hand. I said, now I have a friend being assaulted and I need backup here. So when the police stopped and asked if there was a knife, I said, no, there was never any knife. I didn't have a knife. Miss Patterson, Miss Corey didn't have a knife. You didn't have a knife.
Did you get a chance to see the report that was taken by law enforcement from you?
Well, I'm the one. You mean, you're talking about when I was on White Rock going to Miss Patterson?
No. The day of November 2020, the day of November 22nd, 2021. You made reference already to being interviewed by a detective, correct?
Yes.
And had you, after that, seen that report from that day?
No.
This takes too long, dude.
A miscommunication, you
Yes.
refer to it as?
Yes.
Did you at any time tell law enforcement that there was a knife involved in the altercation?
No.
Do you know if your friend Corey told law enforcement that there was a knife involved in the altercation?
No, she did not.
Do you know if your friend Miss Patterson told any law enforcement that there was a knife involved in the altercation?
She did not as well. No.
Long before the incident on November 21,
Picture nose.
2021, had you known Miss Patterson up until that point?
Probably maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks.
I want to back up to the phone call that you received from Miss Patterson.
Okay.
When she called you, did she give you a name of whoever may have been assaulting her?
She didn't have to. She was meeting one person that day, and I knew exactly who he was because she had showed me his picture and rap sheet prior. Her child's father, the father of their 15-year-old daughter, is who she was meeting up with that day. And I told her multiple times, it's not a good idea. I have a bad feeling about this.
Do you recall stating, well, actually, you testified to that here today. Do you recall stating that you walked past the red SUV that was parked?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say from the two exhibit videos that we watched today that you in fact did not walk past any SUV?
I most definitely walked past an SUV that was red on White Rock Avenue. Whether or not it was your specific SUV, it was still a red SUV. Up until this point, knowing Miss Patterson, I didn't know anything about the father of her child. I didn't know anything about his background except for what she showed me over the phone. Anything about his vehicle description, why would she need to tell me that?
Is it fair to say that the video doesn't show you walking past any red SUV?
If the
Is
video,
that fair to say?
If the video proves that, then yes.
See, and this is where I think I think he thinks he's getting some kind of layup. This guy's establishing is the fact that he walked by a red SUV on his, at that time, and even at that point, he didn't know whether or not it was his SUV. He's just saying he walked past a red SUV. That's all he's saying. Now he's trying to make it as a gotcha, like, you lied. They didn't show in this video you walked by one. Wow.
In the report that in the report that was taken from you by detective, do you yourself recall stating that the alleged defendant tried to punch and push you?
The alleged defendant being you? Yes. Attempted to.
Would it be fair to say from the video that it doesn't show you being pushed or?
No, it does not. It shows me pulling two women away from the situation.
Any reason why you would state to detectives?
Now watch this again. Another GOAT kind of move. Here it comes.
That the alleged defendant attempted to punch and push you?
Probably because there were three different people's fists flying, and I was just trying to get the people that I cared about out of the way of danger. So if my statement to the detective is off a little bit after watching a bunch of people get run over, I can understand why.
So you were at the parade that day?
I was not at the parade that day. I was in the area
So
trying
how
to get back to my house.
so how can you watch people being run over if you weren't at the parade that day?
I wasn't attending the parade. I was in the area that the parade route was in. My street is the parade route.
Did you see anyone injured that day?
During
the parade?
Yes, after I walked back through that area,
You saw someone get injured?
I saw a red SUV take off like a bat out of hell down Main Street and go through a crowd of people.
The question was, did you see? Did you see this take
Now, if you
place?
get my thumbnail, this is where I get that. Yes, he spells YEF.
With my own freaking eyes. Yes. How many times do I have to say yes for you to understand it? YES spells yes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I don't know how to.
Now look how he laughs and shit. He's talking about the SUV driving through the Christmas parade, taking out all these people, and he thinks this is funny. Remember, he's the one that was behind this vehicle, allegedly. And we've seen dozens of witnesses come forward to talk about. We've seen the license plate. We've seen the damn car. I'll show you the car I draw this. It's horrific. And this is what he thinks about it when this dude has been asked. And this happened in his hometown, the one on the stand, his own witness. He lived on the street that the parade happened on. And this is his reaction to the dude finally having enough to be like, yes, I saw you run through the parade. Look at this.
Strike the last response.
Look at this.
The jury will disregard the last response. I'm just going to remind both of you, please answer the questions that are asked, and follow-up needs to take place. Either Mr. Brooks or the state will ask.
Is it fair to, well, in reference to the Exhibit 3 video that we just viewed?
You're talking about the one by the elementary school?
Yeah, the one
Okay.
the one that we just viewed,
Just checking.
which would be Exhibit 3. Is it fair to say from that vehicle, got me,
Video.
I'm sorry, from that video, is it fair to say from that
One of his gang members with him flashing his lean around with his red and his blunts and his, slinging up his gang signs and all that with his judge, little dive chair, like it's just, oh my God. It is just, I'm telling you, it's like the minute he finds decorum in the most inappropriate times and the times that he acts like a complete asshole is like, it is head bending.
video that in fact there are not 3 people throwing punches? Would that be fair to say?
There are 3 people throwing hands in that video: Erica, Corey, and Mr. Brooks. Not myself. If you watch the video, you will see 3 pairs of hands go up towards one another. Whether one is stepping in to pull someone away from another or not, hands are being brought up.
I mean, I wished every witness could have been like this again. Like he is just direct. He ain't taking no crap. Like he is just like, this is, I mean, he is to me again the most perfect witness. And the state didn't even call him. This dude called him. He called him.
Where you went after that altercation?
You mean where me and the 2 girls went? Where me and Miss Patterson and Miss Corey went?
Where you and the
We
2
started.
friends went? Yes.
We started walking back. We turned to walk back the direction we had came, so taking White Rock to Main Street, and then cutting through the neighborhood there to get over to where the women's shelter was. That was where we were going at that point in time. However, things took a drastic turn when the red SUV that I have described multiple times went down the opposite direction of White Rock Avenue, across the railroad tracks and the intersection of Perkins and White Rock, and then turned back around and came back down. That is what you saw in the video here when the red vehicle pulled up on the school side of White Rock. After the altercation between Miss Patterson, Mr. Brooks, Miss Corey, and myself, the 3 of us, Miss Patterson, Miss Corey, we started to leave. I told Mr. Brooks, you need to get out of here. The police have been called. You need to leave. You need to leave now. You do not belong here. I did not expect.
Can you strike everything that's not pertaining to the question that was asked?
Look at him like this gleefully. Oh my God, Judge. I think I'm twisted. I mean, I'm a little biased because again, I've watched for 2 weeks. Him talk to this judge like a dog.
I'm just describing the entire event in its entirety.
I understand. I'll strike the response as being non-responsive to the question. The jury is to disregard it. Re-ask your question again.
Okay. Do you recall where you and your two female friends went after the altercation?
We started to head back in the direction of the women's shelter where they lived, where they were staying at the time.
Do you recall at any point during your travels to the women's shelter, as you referred to it, do you recall at any time coming into contact with another law enforcement officer?
Within that point in time, no. Except for the one that pulled out of Frame Park.
Do you recall at any time being stopped by a law enforcement officer on your way back to the women's shelter?
We were stopped partway down White Rock, and that was when I had told the officer, because he wouldn't get out of his SUV, I had let him know that they need to be on the lookout for a red SUV that took off back down White Rock towards Perkins Avenue, or street or road, whatever it is. The officer had asked me if there was someone with a knife, and that was when I held up my left hand, and I said no. I said I have 12 stitches from a knife injury on this hand, but this is what you need to be looking for, is this red SUV. And I'm guessing that's where the miscommunication of the knife came in, and I don't know where that officer went after that.
And would it be fair to say that that was the second law enforcement officer that you had spoke with that day, at that time?
Yes. You are referring to November 21st?
Correct.
Okay.
During
Again, I know I've said it 100 times, but this dude just out of nowhere.
during that
Such a good witness.
interaction with the second law enforcement officer, do you yourself recall stating that a black guy just assaulted my friend?
No.
Any reason why the officer would report that?
Objection calls for speculation.
Rounds.
Sustained. Calls for speculation.
I don't know why he thinks that's a big gotcha. He is a black man. Is he trying to take the prejudice turn? He does realize that the guy was running to the aid of the black woman, right? We're clear on that, right? I don't know where he thought he was going there. By the way, the woman that was with him, I think, is like Hispanic. I remember her in her testimony.
Did you yourself sustain any injuries during the altercation?
I ripped open 3 stitches on my hand, but that was more so from pulling Miss Corey away from Mr. Brooks so we could get out of there.
Did you report to any law enforcement? Well, I guess that would refer to the second law enforcement officer that you spoke with. Did you report that to that officer?
No. Because at the time I didn't notice it. I didn't notice my hand was ripped open again until I got home.
So it would be fair to say that you don't know how those stitches opened up. That'd be fair to say?
No, I'm pretty sure I know how they opened. My stitches got caught on the zipper on Corey's backpack. That's how the stitches were ripped out of my hand when I was trying to pull her away from Mr. Brooks and intervene between her, Mr. Brooks, and Miss Patterson.
Do you see why I love him? Like, clear, concise, matter of fact. He's not shook. There's other people that I know that have gotten on this stand for obvious reasons that are nervous and They've been through all this. They've watched people they love and care about get injured and stuff. I totally understand it. This guy's like, not today. Said not today.
A little bit about stitches. Would it be fair to say that a wound that was stitched being reopened would cause a little bit of pain? Would that be fair to say?
Objection. Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained. Relevance.
Did you notice any blood from the stitches being reopened?
Didn't feel anything until I actually looked at it when I got home. 12 stitches coming across my thumb in kind of like a fish hook type pattern. It was the 2 over here that ripped open, and the 1 up here. Or actually, I take that back, the 1 up here.
So just for the record, he's holding his left hand. He had his thumb out, extended almost like an L, but with the other fingers almost like a C, and he was pointing to his left thumb near, I would say, the middle of the thumb, and then the curve of the thumb where on the inside where it goes up toward the index finger. Sorry, I have to make a record of all
No,
of
that's just fine.
Go ahead.
So was it 2 stitches that opened or 3?
Objection. Relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. He may answer, but then move on.
It was 3.
And do you recall what time you made it home that evening?
Absolutely not.
See what I mean? You know what time we got home? Absolutely not.
Was it immediately after the altercation or sometime after? Or
No, I took the girls back to the shelter, and then I started running back towards Main Street to try and see if I could avoid the parade traffic. And that's when I saw the red SUV go down Main Street.
Imagine this is the witness. This is the witness that was the one that his ex called. She was living in a women's shelter because of his last charge. There was domestic and an assault between him and his mother was 15-year-old child, I mean Darrell Brooks and her. This is the guy that she called for help. This is the guy that ran to her aid. This is the guy that witnessed everything that happened between them two. The majority of the stuff. And if he didn't witness it, he was on the phone with her a lot of the time. This is the guy that walked her back to the women's shelter. Now, this is the guy that lived on the same street the parade was happening on. And he took them back to the women's shelter and then came back and saw him drive through the parade. I mean, I'm just saying, this is this witness that he called, saw everything. And they're just sitting there like, well, this is okay, well, our work is done here.
And do you recall speaking with your women friends after you had made it home that evening?
Yes.
Did at any time you indicate to them that you...
Objection. Hearsay.
Hold on, let him finish the question. He was asking what he indicated to them.
I thought that's what I said.
You can ask your question. That's what I thought you were saying too.
Did you yourself at any time indicate to your female friends that you had sustained an injury during the altercation?
No.
Objection. Relevance.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
because he ain't no punk. I mean, I'm pretty sure this man, like most men, would be like, I think these women have probably been through enough not to me cry about my 3 stitches. How long is going by?
That you had known Miss Patterson up until that day of November 21st of 2021.
Which
Patterson up until that, in the
me-
time that you
to me, this is, again, this is my opinion, but to me, this is like more of him as more than him in the trial, more than him being more curious about how long he known his baby mama. And that's just my opinion. In my opinion, everybody can have one. But this is where this question kind of goes. He's already answered it. He only knew her for a week and a half.
had known Miss Patterson up until that day of November 21st of 2021. Had you yourself ever heard Miss Patterson refer to the alleged defendant by a different name?
Objection relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. The witness may answer if he knows.
No. You mean like an alias or something?
A different name.
Well, okay, that could, a nickname, an alias. I mean, let's be specific here.
Did Miss Patterson ever refer to him with another name? If you recall.
Not that I can personally recall, no, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Do you recall if, to your knowledge, was your friend Miss Corey, as you referred to her? Do you recall
As you refer to her. What's her name?
her stating that she was injured during the altercation?
She did tell me that I believe she like hurt her finger or her fingernail or something like that, but I don't think it was relevant to the incident that had happened.
What do you mean by you don't think it was relevant to the incident that happened?
Objection as to relevance.
Sustained is to the form of the question. Before I decide whether to do cross at this time, how long do you believe it will be?
0 minutes because I have no cross.
All right, thank you. And you can set.
The prosecution didn't even bother to ask him a question. Why would they? He was one of their best witnesses. Look at him, look at the grin. She's smiling back here. Like they're like, we couldn't have called about a witness.
Down, and we're going to take a break.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now something happens here, and I don't know what, but this is another one of these awkward Darrell Brooks moments. I don't know if the witness got up and didn't realize. I mean, because a lot of people, never been to court before. They've never testified in front of a jury, and the procedure usually is to allow the jury to exit and then the witness exits. I don't know if he stumbled into one or something. I don't know what happened here. Something happened here, and everybody apparently thought it was kind of funny. And then he does this weird, where he's laughing, oh, no, his life's not on the line or anything, I mean, he just thinks this is just funny as funny can be.
Give me a second. I'll rise for the jury. Let me excuse the jury for a second.
See this right like this. Like this is like look at him trying to be like remember this is Mr. Thug It Out. I mean hang on. Let us not forget that this is this guy, this gang sign, and apparently driving. This is the vehicle. All this damage done not by hitting trees or fence posts from people. Human beings did the damage. Human beings is this dude. Who just thinks something just happened. So funny. These people aren't laughing. Either the judge giggled a little bit. I don't know what. Look, watch. You hear somebody like giggle a little bit under breath. Like, look at him.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. You may step down, sir. And
Look at
he
this.
may be released from his subpoena, Mr. Brooks. You're done questioning him?
Yeah, I don't think he's no longer needed.
All right, you are released from your subpoena, sir. All right, let's take about a 15-minute break. Anything we need to address prior to that?
If I was in, I would not be laughing and smiling and smirking. He killed 4 old ladies, an 81-year-old man, and an 8-year-old boy. I don't think I'd be fucking laughing.
Or can we go when we come back?
Nope, thank you.
All right, Mr. Brooks, work with the state, please, for the next witness. We have them available.
Yeah. And this is now at the end of the day, as you can tell by the time. I'm going to play this because this just goes to some of the weirdest crap I've ever seen. This man's behavior, he's trying to act like I don't know what it is. Like he's this innocent, just this innocent little nerd. They're going back and forth about he's making it he's making it so much harder than it has to be. Okay. He's called these witnesses. The state, by the way, who does not have to help this man, has offered to contact all of his witnesses, get them lined up in court for him. Remember, they're prosecuting him and they're helping him call his witnesses, which I don't blame him for. We just watched the last one. But they're trying to get him to say, okay, this is who you need in the morning and this is who you need in the afternoon. They're doing that as a way to not make these people have to sit in a courtroom all daggum day. If they're not going to be called until 2:00 in the afternoon, that they're going to be sitting in there till 9:00 in the morning. They're trying to do this as a courtesy to these witnesses. And he makes it a nightmare for them to have to deal with. But then they get to this one part, and I'm just going to play a little bit of this so you can see kind of how he's behaving, and then it gets to the weird. Yeah.
I didn't put him on days, but I believe they were in the maybe the second floor names.
You just want to tell me who it is so we can prepare so that person is told to come.
Oh yeah, okay. See there it is. I'm sorry to go back far enough. They're asking about a certain witness. So they're trying to get like him lining up. And they're like, okay, so what? And the judges get frustrated. She's like, okay, well, what witnesses now do you want in the morning and what do you want in the afternoon? And then he's like, well, I'm not going to tell you my order. Like it's like he's a control freak. He has no control because he's in jail. And he thinks he's got some say so here. So he's trying to be like, I'm going to do whatever I want. By the way, remember this Holy Bible sitting here, just so we're clear, that showed up in his life at a convenient time. But like, what he does here is just strange because they was like, okay, well, there's another witness on here that they sat through the whole trial today to be potentially called as a witness. So they've already sat there all day today, apparently. So they're like, we're not going to do this to them again tomorrow. Don't want to do this all these people again tomorrow. They're asking him to nail it down. And he's going to get to I'm just going to spoiler alert. They're talking about Miss Patterson, the mother of his 15-year-old. The whole testimony you heard this guy testify to earlier, the woman that he put in the vehicle, the woman that he has the charges against before this Christmas parade even happened. So he wants to bring her in as a witness, which don't even get me started, and how freaking uncomfortable that would be to have this man to have this man sit there and ask you questions while you're on a stand. I just can't imagine. So they're trying to get him to be like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And he gets to it's weird.
If the morning goes pretty.
Can you tell me which list they were on?
Yeah. Go
Fair
back.
enough.
One witness I intend to call tomorrow is not going to be 35 minutes.
Fair enough. Do you,
The one witness, there it is. One witness I intend to call tomorrow is not going to be there. So he's talking about her. Okay. So like, all right, well, because they're trying to narrow it down how much time he needs for each one.
plan to call that person in the morning or the afternoon?
I'm leaning towards the afternoon. That could change depending on the flow of the morning, I would guess. If the morning goes pretty.
Can you tell me which list they were on when you gave it to the state? Was it Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, or Friday afternoon?
I didn't put them on days, but I believe they were in the maybe the second flow of names. If
You just
that
want to tell me who
helps.
it is so we
Look at how weird he's being. He's so creepy.
can prepare so that person is told to come in the
Yeah.
afternoon rather than wait through the morning?
What is this? Like, aha, I know a secret and you don't know. Like, what is this? This freaking psychopath drove to a Christmas parade and killed people. What is this?
Morning?
I don't want to say who it is.
Well, I want the person
And the prosecution just has had enough. Like, they're
to be here when we're ready to go, but
They were here today, if that helps.
see what he's doing? They were here today, if that helps. This isn't a game of Clue, you moron.
Yeah, I know who it is. It's Erica Patterson, Your Honor. There's no
Maybe.
mystery here.
Maybe
all right,
it is,
that's
maybe
what I
it isn't.
would have. That's kind of who I thought it would be as well.
So,
I'm going to have her come tomorrow afternoon. Then I'm
okay,
not
we
gonna
will
her
have
come
you
in the
here at
morning.
1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
So
Your Honor.
we need
Thank
to be
you.
mindful of people's schedules.
Thank you. We'll have everyone else here at
That's
8:30.
interesting because what if that was not who I was referring to?
Look at this. Oh, that's interesting. That's what if that wasn't who I was referring to. Like, he's a man child. This is a man child that was still living at his mother's house and was 40 years old. That was putting his hands on women, hasn't seen his children. He's acted like whenever he was questioned by the detectives that he had custody of his kids, which was a complete freaking lie. As my other video shows, you can't even be honest about where his shoes were. And now he's doing this kind of crap.
Then you need to tell me right now so I can make an alteration to that.
Come on, Judge.
See, look at this.
Sir, we're at the
It's
end
not a
of the
joke.
third week of trial.
So
I
can we
need
at
to
least
keep
be
this
fair?
moving
Can we at
along.
least be fair and say
Now, watch what he says here. We're at the third week. Can we try to get this moving? And then he tries to say it's not his fault. This mother effer has objected to every freaking question. He's called outburst in the middle of the courtroom where he's had to been taken to another room. They've constantly had to get up and remove the jury out of the room so he could have his little outburst and she could try and get him under control. And then he's going to act like it wasn't his fault that how long shit's taken. I've watched this flipping trial. You better bet you a damn bottom dollar that this dude right here has caused a shit ton of issues of dragging this thing out. And he knows what he's doing.
Of trial.
So
I
can we
need
at
to
least
keep
be
this
fair?
moving
Can we
along.
at least be fair and say that's not due to me though?
That would not be fair to say.
How?
It's
How? The state said that they needed 5 to 7 business days to present their case. Did they or did they not say that on the record?
and there's
So how
it doesn't
did
matter how we got there at this point. I'm trying
Then they
my
need to chop,
darndest
chop.
to get all
It
the
should've been
witnesses
chop, chop.
done. So I'm directing the state to have Miss Patterson come to
I mean, to me, that just said it all. Look, he's like, they need to chop, chop. They need to chop, chop. If you doubt me at all, go back and watch this entire trial. Try to make it through it. It has been, I'm not kidding you, painful. The amount of the reasonings behind why this trial has drug on rest almost solely on that man's head. How much he has interrupted, disrespected, argued, talked over, objected is been mind-numbingly painful to watch. This woman, I'm not kidding you when I say this woman deserves a freaking halo, okay? A Halo. All right, with that, I'm out of here. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry, this trial is taking up my life. It's going to take up yours if you watch this video. All right, with that, have a good one. Catch you in the next one.